Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's further east than normal out there in Italy. Thanks for making it by the show, Nate. We've got a pretty fun week of hoop, a massive slate of 12 games here on Monday. Obviously getting out of the way of that football Sunday. Congrats to the Niners and the Chiefs. But now we got 12 more NBA games to look at here. We got best bets in this video. We also have play a props up in another one as we do each and every weekday. So continue to follow along, like and subscribe to that page. Even a trip to Italy can't stop us from bringing you NBA best bets and play a props. Also want you to head to thelines.com. Use everything we have up on the site right now, including that odds finder tool to make sure you're getting the best juice back on all of these bets that you are making this NBA season. Nate, let's go ahead and kick this week off correctly here, talking about the Sacramento Kings and Grizzlies game.
Yeah, a lot of back-to-backs here, despite it being NFL championship weekend yesterday. The Grizz did play yesterday in Indiana, but I will still take them to cover 8.5 here at home. Against the Kings, I mean, it is kind of short travel for them coming home from Indiana. Like, not a huge deal in that regard. And it's a Kings team that we're just still trying to fade on the road. I mean, they were unable to cover in Golden State. And it took a Harrison Barnes 40-burger, second consecutive, right, for them to keep pace in that scoring department. And I just don't, I mean, obviously I don't see that being sustainable. I don't see Sabonis having a particularly good game against Triple J. He's only averaged 14 in his career at a 115 offensive rating against Jackson and the Grizzlies. De'Aaron Fox's last 8 against the Grizz, about 21. Poor offensive rating, though, 108. Kings have gone under in 11 of their last 15 roadies. And that's what you look at first and foremost is like, all right, this is a lower scoring environment. Like, they're unlikely to win by double digits on the road. Like, they're only 0.7 net above zero in those 15 road games. And in the Eastern time zone, that can lead to some struggles. Like, this is a Western Conference game, but they're on the East here. So it is just as much travel, I think, issue for them on the day off after playing Dallas as it is for Memphis. And yes, they beat down Memphis on New Year's Eve. That was the third game in 4 nights for Memphis after tougher travel. They played at LA, at Denver the previous 2 nights. And, this is, another weird situation where they're like fighting harder without Ja, like we've seen in recent seasons, right? I mean, 7-4 against the spread, their last 11 since he was announced done for the season. And I mean, they were pretty hot with him, but the point is, like, this is grit and grind Grizz, right? This is a team that brings it, that organizationally can develop guys who are just going to give you effort every night, especially at home. Keep that defense in the top 10 in some key categories: paint points, fast break points, 2-point percentage, and points down the stretch, fourth quarter points. So I think they can limit Sac here. The only times they failed to cover at home in that 11-game stretch is against the red-hot Knicks and Clippers. Just don't think the Kings are the same kind of juggernaut, so I'll take Memphis here and take my chances with the points.
Yeah, you're talking about 2 of the 3 best teams in the league in the Clippers and the Knicks, by the way, alongside the Cleveland Cavaliers. Those are your top 3 net ratings in the last 15 games. But yeah, I fully buy into Memphis playing well at home. Don't know why I didn't have the nuts to take them against the Magic the other day. Really liked that game when they were like 6.5 point dogs to the Magic coming off a back-to-back. And it was like, I think we've gone too far here. Like you and I have been saying, when we take overs on Memphis at 99.5 team total points, or if we're taking them to cover 8.5 or 7 points against a team that struggles on the road, especially when you get that grit and grind. Like, I don't really, they have a bad home record this year against the spread and otherwise, does Memphis, but that's also been different since Ja came and left, and now they just are what they are without, all their starters. And they're turning into something that's at least formidable and something that you don't want to play on the wrong night. And I would say anytime Sac is on the road right now, it's the wrong night for them. So I'm going to go to another team that I need to score some points on the road for this bet. We're going with the Pellies over 112.5 team total. They're taking on the Celtics. The Celtics are very good, and they're very good at home, and I get that. But they are possibly without a single big man in this game. Like, we're talking about Jason Tatum and O'Shea Brissett playing center in the possible near future for this team. If Kristaps is out, Al Horford is out, they're both questionable, and Luke Cornett's not play. He's doubtful to play, probably not going to play, almost definitely not going to play. That's very thin now, right? There's nobody there at center for this team. I considered some Joval stuff, but Joval might get run off the floor by the pace of this game. If you look at how these two teams are going to play against each other without big men in there. And maybe you'll get a bunch more threes from guys like Tatum and even Jaylen Brown and even all the guards on the Celtics. But that should just mean a bunch more points and pace in general, right? And if those are misses, those are long misses for the Pellies to get out and run. So that's a reason why I do like them to get the 112.5 without, probably without much big man presence down low for the Celtics. You got to expect one of those guys probably misses. If not, fine. I still like the over here. Joval being in there isn't a problem for the offense to me at all. It's just that the pace might ramp up a bit if he's not. Now, last year, these two teams played, and Zion didn't play a single game. Brandon Ingram played one of those games, and the average score here was 121 to 112 for the Celtics, playing at about a 96.5 pace, which is basically what these two teams will play at a lot when they play each other. But they are fine in the half court. I do think the attacking of the rim without big guys in there is going to be a problem for the Celtics as well, which is why I like the Pelly's points. When you look at what they've been doing on the road lately, it is a lot of go, go, go. It's over the last 10 games, they played 6 on the road. And they've gone over in 5 of those. They've got a 124 points per game that they're scoring in that time frame. Zion and Brandon Ingram have played 5 of those 6 games together, and when the 2 of them are on the court right now, they're still very good. That offensive rating has jumped up a bit. I was talking about that earlier in the season. Then they missed a bunch more time together. Now in the last, like I said, 10 games, couple weeks, let's say they've played six of these 8 games together, and in that time frame, like I said, the net rating with the 2 of them on the floor is still a nice like plus 20, plus 19 in that range. So they're definitely bringing it when they're on the floor. There's not quite as much choppiness, and I think that's a big reason why they've just sort of sold out on the road too, to just score points, because their defense, while it's been good, it's actually been a little bit underwhelming at times as well, even defending places like the rim. I think Tatum is in line for a big game. I think Tatum's probably in line for a lot of rebounds. He's already the best rebounder on this team, and now he's really not going to have much of a choice, and will probably find himself guarding a guy that's bigger than him throughout this game, between Zion and even obviously Joval in there at times as the dude who is kind of the tallest guy left. Like I said, O'Shea Brissett might get in there, but they're going to be struggling to defend down low, and I think that they're just going to keep getting banged down there by those Pellies who are going to realize that. Probably some assists in there for BI as well, as he's going to be able to find guys down low. So that's kind of how I'm playing this one, but I like the 112.5 team total for the Pellies.
Well, I think you should just take the over for the game then. I mean, do you think the Celtics really aren't going to return fire after playing poorly against the Clips yesterday and having guys pulled early? It looks like, I mean, Porzingis has props, so he might be out there, which honestly I think helps their offense more than it helps the defense. Yeah. If Porzingis isn't going to play, though, yeah, what you were saying early made me think like it's time to take Zion here. 21.5 points or something is pretty low. You could obviously eclipse that pretty quickly, but yeah, he should go right at Tatum, whatever center. He might play some small ball 5, and that would be the matchup for them to exploit, right? Is Zion on Tatum or on whatever big they are able to throw out there. I am going over here in Clips at Cavs. Initially, I was thinking Clippers to cover a small spread, and I don't hate it. Like, the Cavs I'm not impressed by the recent strength of schedule. They got the Bucks in the second matchup, as the Bucks are still in transition very much, trying to figure out their new coach. Previously, I mean, they got Atlanta without Trey. They got Orlando on the back-to-back basically without Franz. They got Milwaukee without Giannis, and they got 5 bad teams. That's their hot streak here. I mean, they're playing incredibly well, and that's why I think they can keep pace with this Clippers team and get us over 225. Because the Clippers, I mean, are scoring, 120 a game, 125 offensive rating since the start of December. Like, they're an absolute juggernaut. And Harden just gets hotter and hotter. In his last 4, averaging a clean 20 and 10. He has 7 straight double-doubles against Cleveland, averaging more than that 20-10. Torching Jared Allen in pick and rolls. So I would be a little wary if Mobley comes back. It sounds like he has an outside chance to play here the first time in a while. But still no Zubac for the Clippers on the other end. Donnie Mitchell has been very efficient against this Clippers defense. Granted, Kawhi has missed the last 3 meetings, I think. But when they at least had PG, like, these games got to like 240 between them. And the trend really to look at is that the Cavs, when they play the Western Conference, like, this ain't your like Knicks Magic Cavs games that are like barely getting to 200. When they play the West, they've gone over in 5 of their last 6 at home, the only under being against Portland. On extended rest as well, so they haven't played since Friday, and they do average more and allow a little bit more when they're on 2 days rest here. So I think the spot is fine to take the Clippers on this back-to-back. By the way, they allow a little bit more, still score 119 on short rest. So, I mean, whether they win or not, I think the Cavs, they're not a team that goes down easy, right? Like, Donnie Mitchell should be right back there. keeping them in it and keeping this game over, I think.
Yeah, I thought about this play too with the way that the Clips are playing offense. They're absolutely incredible. I don't know why it would slow down now. There's no rest to worry about with them or anything like that. So until they show otherwise, yeah, we can definitely just keep riding with them and keep assuming that James Harden's going to bring his incredible point guard play as well. So let me close things out with one more team total over, and that is going to be Denver's team total at 120.5. I believe it's at 121.5 for better juice now if you want that, but. Yeah, they're playing a Bucks team that still isn't good. Like, what changed? They're still not able to play defense. I still don't trust them at all. If you look at the ways, the areas of the floor that they struggle a ton, it's most of them. To be honest, they get back on defense pretty well. I'm sorry, they do not get back on defense pretty well at all. That is a major problem for them. The only thing that they would guard against decently well, that is a play that the Denver Nuggets run consistently, is some form of post up because they have Brook Lopez and he's a very good post up defender down low and always has been. It doesn't matter against Jokic, first of all. Second of all, if Jokic steps away from the basket, probably going to get cooked is Brook Lopez or whomever wants to guard him at that point. The dribble handoff is the play that Denver runs the most. Obviously, it's like him, DeMontis, and Alpi Şengün, right? Those are the three guys running the DHO the most, and that is definitely where Milwaukee struggles, is that DHO. They do not fight through screens well. They do not switch screens well. That's a big reason they're so bad on the perimeter. And the only place that they really have strength of defense is down low between Bobby Poe and Brook Lopez, as well as obviously Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, like, that's fine. Like if that's the only place you can defend, you're still in trouble against Denver. There is nobody that can stop this half court offense, which is third best net rating in the half court. But if you take away the road and they're playing at home, they are the best offensive rating in the half court. It's just on the road, they've been awful. Honestly, it's just a big stark contrast, 110 points per game on the road versus the 120 that they are scoring at home. They've only failed to get 121 or 122 at this point twice now with Jokic at home in the last 10. And it's going to be pace. That's all that the Bucks know at this point. They're playing at about 103, 102 and a half in that range. And just getting a ton of possessions, forcing that ball down as fast as they can, even in the half court. There's a lot of threes coming and a lot of shots inside of like 15 seconds of that shot clock that are coming. That's why that pace stays so high. But the defense, the pace isn't necessarily high because they're getting points off of turnovers. They're not getting it and going off of misses. They're giving up so many points that there aren't that many defensive rebounds to be had, to be honest, for them. And that's why I do think Denver playing at whatever pace that they want to play at. If it gets sped up a little bit, fine. I don't think they want it to speed up, to be honest. Like I think they're fine with it playing at like a 96 and a half, 97 pace because they know that they still have a roughly 122 offensive rating at home to get them to that 120, 122 mark that they would need. So everywhere on the floor is just a problem for them. Everything Denver wants to do, like I said, other than Jokic backing Brolo down, which I still think he's very capable of, there's nowhere that they're not better than this Milwaukee team.
How do you factor in Doc making his coaching debut likely here tonight? I mean, you think he's going to make an immediate impact with Transition D?
How?
Yeah, I guess it might take some time for sure to instill those principles. I mean, it's Denver at home. Yeah, they can easily score 120. Everybody's been hanging big numbers on the Bucks pretty much lately. So yeah, I have no problem with it. Yeah, and I think this team total makes sense for sure. I mean, I think you can just take Denver to win, to cover the 4 here because Milwaukee, again, still kind of in transition, getting Doc in there. Who knows how quickly they'll be able to adjust and beat the defending champs on the road.
Doesn't seem likely. Yeah, definitely doesn't seem likely. I would also lean Denver. The only thing about Milwaukee is like if those two dudes decide to go off, then they decide to go off, and that's kind of it. But yeah, there should be a decent enough defensive wall with Denver down there to be able to handle Giannis well enough anyway. So that is all the time we have for you in Best Bets. Continue to follow along, like and subscribe to that page, and check out the Play of Props we also have up for you. Until we see you next, happy betting.